So here I have the Marcy Exercise Bike. This bike retails for about $100 to $130. I picked it up at BJ's Wholesale Club for about $100. And I must say this bike is pretty great considering how cheap it is. First off, it has a very solid construction. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to assemble it, and you barely need the instructions at all. It's so simple, you could pretty much assemble it by yourself, which actually is what I did, but I forgot to install these washers here, so just don't forget the washers when you're installing it. That's the only thing right here as well. So that ended up, it was basically so simple to put together, I pretty much didn't even look at the instructions. So one thing about this bike is it feels very sturdy. Also, it has this pin here. You can, with one pull, you can pretty much bend the bike back. And here I'll show how much smaller it is. And put the pin in. There you go, we have the same bike. As you can see, it folds down to be very small, so you can pretty much tuck this anywhere. You can fit it in a kitchen, living room, basically any apartment size can fit this. So, fold it back to its size. I must say, considering for how cheap this thing is, it really feels very strong and generally pretty good quality. I really wouldn't expect something like this for so cheap. So another thing I like is that there are no batteries, there's no power to this, so essentially when you start pedaling, the screen, as you can see, it'll turn on. So there's no need to plug this into the wall or anything like that, so it's pretty much 100% standalone. It's also very quiet, so let me just hop on it for a second here. See if you can hear any noise. So as you can tell, it's very, very quiet, and it doesn't really matter if you change the difficulty setting. Difficulty-wise, there are 8 difficulties, and for me, I find that 4 and 5 are probably the best. 8 is obviously pretty difficult, so you're not going to be able to work for very long. 1 is pretty easy, and I think this pretty much will suit anyone who's looking for an exercise bike. 8 is definitely more than difficult enough for anybody. And in terms of the screen and display, it really has a very basic display. And I'm going to turn it on here again for you. You got to spin the bike. And it pretty much just tells you the speed, distance, calories. Essentially, I usually just use the time. And you can press this button here, which will switch between different modes. It's very easy to use. There's just one button, so there's no learning curve, no need to kind of look at a manual and figure out what's going on. So overall, I would say this was a great purchase. This bike pretty much has everything you'd want from a simple exercise bike. There are no electronics, there's no batteries, nothing to plug in, it just works. You can exercise, it's quiet, it's small, compact, it's light, it's easy to assemble, and it's cheap. I really don't know what else I could ask for. This is a complete home run product. Essentially, I also just wanted to point out you can also adjust the seat height, so it fits for pretty much anyone. So yeah, if you're interested in buying this, I 100% recommend it.